Your heart is for me. Your ear is listening. I'm safe in your love. Your army of angels watch over me. You're always present. You are faithful, and you always will be. Thank you, Lord. You're so good. You're so good.
Good morning. Welcome to God Talks on this Sunday, October the 24th, 2021. Hope you all are doing well wherever you may be this morning. Today's sermon title is Be Silent, No! Continuing to weave ourselves in the Gospel of Mark as we have the last few weeks, chapter 10. We are at verse 46 through 52. This is what the Gospel tells us this morning. The healing of the blind Bartimaeus. They came to Jericho as he and his disciples and a large crowd were leaving Jericho. Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting by the roadside. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout and say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Then he sternly ordered him to be quiet, and he cried out even more loudly, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus stood still. He said, call him here. They called the blind man, saying to him, take heart, get up. He is calling you. Throwing off his cloak, he sprang up, came to Jesus. Then Jesus said to him, what do you want me to do for you? The blind man said to him, Teacher, let me see again. Jesus said to him, go, your faith has made you well. Immediately he regained his sight and followed him on his way. So it said, for many sternly ordered him to be quiet, and he cried out even more loudly. Well, thank God for that. Literally, Bartimaeus won't be told to shut up. Be silent. No silence for him. Good for him. We got to like this guy, Bartimaeus, this new disciple. He spoke up. He was not silent because how often do we feel like we're required to keep silent? How often are we asked to keep our voices down lest there some offense that would cause disruption in a very controlled and conceived world, lest there be an utterance that might tear apart that which we've constructed to keep out of what or who or don't want to see or hear or acknowledge? Or how often do we silence others? In many ways, power, lack of accountability and responsibility, system, convinced that their cries of mercy are not worthy of God's attention, but they are. So be silent, no mas, no more. So I understand this. I get this. We should get this. Why? Because this is what we do. We keep silent. We urge others to do the same. Speaking out? Come on. Now that's a risk. That's why you choose not to. Stating your opinion? Well, that'll cause rejection. Jesus saw that. Saying that you think is true about the gospel, getting ready for rejection. But as Jesus says, the truth will set you free in the Gospel of John. The reformers, the redeemers, knew this truth. Truth quieted results in captivity. Truth silence will end up in imprisonment. Truth shushed leads to bondage. Pushed away, imprisoned, shuddered, and told to be silent. As truth is shushed at some point, at some time, someone needs to speak the truth. At the end of the day, there's only one so much way you can take this. There's only so many times that someone can say, be quiet, before you say no. I cannot be quiet. I will not be silent. Don't disparage. What if it speaks the truth? Don't you dare try to silence me, to shut me up. What is your breaking point here? When will you find yourself standing with Bartimaeus, the disciple, let's say now, after being healed for the sake of Bartimaeus? When do you choose to come alongside another so that silence can be broken, so that truth can be told? Wrestle on that. When can you confess the Lord has done great things? As the psalm says, the Lord has done great things for us, and so we rejoice, even when others cannot. When have you needed to utter because you cannot do otherwise, either for yourself or for your neighbor, as we discussed last week? Jeremiah 31:7, save, O Lord, your people, only to be muzzled, to be hushed, to be shushed. Interesting. I don't know about you, but I'm growing weary, biting my tongue, getting tired of self-censoring, impatient with the compulsion and coercion to perpetuate the system or systems that cannot demand my loyalty. They do not. So we are free agents to speak the truth without consequence. I am less than pleased when I find myself making excuses, falling back on doctrine, feeling that I become beholden to a prescribed dogma and dogmatics, defaulted buttons so that to maintain a status quo convince all others of my credentials, and they're there, or make certain acceptable credences and creedal statements when I believe in my heart that God is so much bigger than these utterings at all, and yes, they are. So I am free. Be silent, no mas. And yes, we know there's only so much we can say. There's only so many things we can say. Things we wish we could say. It's the truth of the call of being in leadership. In leadership. A teacher, speaker, preacher, pastor, mentor. It's a hard place to live, to work, isn't it? To work in this world we're in the backdrop of the here and the now. It seems that you're always walking that very fine line between truth-telling and putting your hand over your mouth. That line between what you want to say and what you have to say. The line between knowing when the truth can be told and when the truth can't be heard. Yet, we are called to proclaim the truth when the truth will be rejected. So we will be rejected. We are called to teach, to preach, to speak the truth when no one wants to hear it. Well, you're going to hear this. We're called to call out those who need to cry and cannot cry out. We don't know the truth. You need to speak in your own context, in your own way, in your own voice. You don't know the persons you need you to come alongside, whom they need you, and say, it's okay, say it. Jesus, have mercy on me. I don't know those who need you to urge. I want to hear my voice. But I do know that Jesus would want us to say, take heart, get up. He is calling you, as the disciples said, the crowd said, the audience said, the pericope this morning, over and over and over again. As we said last week, and if there ever a time to be a bold witness, bold proclamation, bold statements of faith, this is it. Here in the Gospel of Mark, and for Jesus. And why? Because the entry to Jerusalem is just around the corner. Because the time for safe speech and secure statements is over. Your people need to hear what it sounds like when you say something on which life depends. They don't have to agree. But at least they then have a sense of language, of understanding, of tone, of urgency behind the walls that matter, the verses of assertions that only serve the self or the world. And they will have a sense of passion, immediacy, expediency, and the resolve that lies behind what you say and what you do. If your proclamation is just blind claims, get it out of here. Where's the truth of that in the gospel? If your preaching is just standard, your teaching is just standard, your speaking is just standard, on the fence, mediocre, I don't want to take a side, lame, generic theology, then what is it really at stake at the end of the day? The gospel's at stake. If our witness is simply platitudes that meant only to persuade and to gain power and to pick a side and not to speak the truth because you're scared and fearful and we can smell it, then why would Bartimaeus think he could ever say to Jesus, Jesus, have mercy on me? Folks, that's discipleship. That's bold. That's truly speaking the truth and being transparent, folks. The truth, as they say, is cliche, but it is true. You've heard it time after time in the fabric of history and movements. Today in the Gospel of Mark in chapter 10, the truth sets us all free to be free to speak the truth. Indeed. Silence no mas. Amen.